All right, so now that we have this created and everything looks good as far as I can tell, we can now create the tool path so that our router can cut it out. We have it a half inch away here. So then we have one piece of board that's about 6 inches wide. That's roughly about 8 or 9 inches long, and we can cut this out. So over on this left side, we're going to change it from design, and we're going to go down to manufacture. And the first thing, we have units in millimeters. We need to change that to inches and press OK. So now the next thing is we need to create a new setup. So under setup, we're going to put a new setup, and we want to, here's our origin. Now we're going to change our origin to the bottom left-hand corner here. And for machine, it doesn't really matter. Setup, we want to make sure we have milling, because that is what we're going to be doing for this. And then for model, I'm going to press select, and I'm going to select both bodies. Then we'll come over to the stock tab. Now, it does do a stock side offset of 400ths and a stock top offset of 400ths. I like to take the stock top offset off. Post process, we're not going to do anything with that. Everything else, we're going to leave it and press OK. So now there is our setup, and we can start creating our toolpath. We're going to be doing a 2D pocket to mill out the insides here. So to do that, so for our tool, we're going to first select our tool, and in Fusion 360 here, if we go over on the Fusion 360 library, milling tools, then we can look down. We're going to find a 1/4 inch flat end mill. I'm going to press select, and for the coolant, we don't have coolant, we're going to disable that. If you want to change the settings based on any manufacturer settings here, you could. However, at this point, I am not going to do any of that. For the geometry, so this is what we want to select. So I'm going to select it to mill out this, mill out our middle pocket and our bottom pocket, and then over on the right side, top, select that one, select here, these little to help us open, and then the bottom. So that will mill out the basically main inside part of our card holder. Stock consort, reset machining, wrap toolpath, tool orientation, we don't need to touch that. Heights. This is where we could make any changes if we need to. You can see the orange here is our clearance. So this is how far it's going to move up every time that tool bit moves. Feed, where it comes in at, and the retract. We don't need to make any changes to any of those. The bottom heights here, we have selected contours, so we don't need to check. So that the bottom of our contour will be our bottom height. Over in passes, you could change how the tolerance level, 4,000 here works really well. Maximum step over, you could change this so it's a smaller step over. What that allows is just be a little bit smoother bottom, but this 1500ths works pretty well. So multiple depths. I am going to click multiple depths because I do not want that tool, that bit to be cutting out everything at once. 1/8 is a little too much. 1/16 not really enough. So I've been cutting it in the middle at 1/12, and it seems to be working really well. And then over finally in linking, everything here we can kind of leave the same except for ramp type. I do not want helix. For some reason, the CNC, the Patriot, does not like a helix. It goes too deep and makes a mistake. So I've been changing it to plunge and press OK, and it should generate then our toolpath. And if you want there, it's generated. If you want to right click and go to simulate, and you can press, and then you can kind of watch to see how it's going to cut out our card holder. Kind of the order it goes in. Now we also need to cut out the outside of this. We have not done that yet. So we're going to do a new toolpath. Again, 2D pocket. This time I'm going to select the bottom edge of both models. For my tool, again, I'm going to do a 1/4" flat end mill. It's already selected here. If you want to hit that again and go back to it, you can. I already have my geometry picked of what I want. Everything else is going to be the same. Bottom height, select the contour, so the bottom height is of 3/4 of our stock. Everything's going to be the same. Multiple depths. I'm going to again click that and change that to 1/12. And then finally, over in my linking, I'm going to change my helix to a plunge again. And then I can press OK. And now you can see how it's going to work its way down and the different passes it's going to do to cut out the outside. And again, if you want to right click and choose simulate, and you can watch that go. Finally, to post this, you're going to need to go to Teams, and you're going to have to download our post. In 3D machining, we're going to Files and Class Materials, CNC Router, and we're using Fusion. And if you download this Patriot, this is our Patriot post, and we're going to download that. Might need to unzip it, so when I go to my downloads, oh, it's right there. Do not need to unzip it. So now in Actions, I'm going to go back to Fusion 360. I'm going to go to Actions, and I'm going to Post Process. This is going to create the G code. Up at the top here for the post, I'm going to open up this folder, and you're not going to have this already in. You're going to need to import yours. So you're going to go to Import at the top, and you're going to choose Patriot CPS, and it'll look like this. And then you can press Select. And then you are going to name it card holder with your name. And the output folder, I would do to your OneDrive. And I'm doing 3D machining, so I'm going to select that folder. Everything else should be the same. So we need inches. We want the .NC. Everything else should be good. And I can hit post, and it's posted successful. Now I can ready to run that in the router.